The earth shall give up those who are asleep in it, and the dust those who rest there in silence, and the chambers shall give up the souls that have been committed to them. This suggests a resurrection or reclamation of the dead, as the physical earth releases those who have been interred within it, and even the spiritual realm, represented by the chambers or afterlife, will release the souls that have been held there. The language used, such as the dead being asleep and dwelling silently, suggests a state of dormancy or concealment that will be disrupted by this momentous occurrence. The implication is that the long departed will be recalled and reintegrated into the unfolding divine plan. This event is presented as a profound cosmic upheaval where the boundaries between the physical and spiritual realms are dissolved and the dead are summoned forth from their resting places. This verse serves to reinforce the central theological framework of the chapter, hinting at the magnitude of the spiritual and cosmic transformation that is to come as part of the Almighty's ultimate redemption of His chosen people. The language used conveys a sense of a profound, divinely orchestrated disruption of the natural order, setting the stage for the establishment of a new, transformed reality. The Most High shall be revealed on the seat of judgment, and compassion shall pass away, and patience shall be withdrawn. In this verse, the angel offers a sobering revelation regarding the impending divine judgment that will precede the ultimate redemption of God's chosen people. The text declares, "And the Most High shall be revealed upon the seat of judgment, and compassion shall pass away, and patience shall be withdrawn." This passage suggests a profound and transformative moment when the Almighty will make His divine presence manifest upon the seat of judgment. The implication is that a divine reckoning is imminent, where the Most High will sit in judgment over the affairs of the world and the actions of His chosen people. Accompanying this revelation of the Almighty's judgment is the troubling statement that compassion shall pass away and patience shall be withdrawn. This implies a suspension of the divine mercy and forbearance that the chosen Israelites may have previously experienced. The passage intimates a time of stern justice and accountability, where the Almighty's compassion will be temporarily withheld as He metes out His judgment. This warning must have been deeply unsettling for the Israelites, who had drawn strength from the promise of the Almighty's compassion and patience. Yet this verse suggests that even these divine attributes will be set aside as the Most High assumes the mantle of the ultimate judge, presiding over the final reckoning. This revelation underscores the gravity of the situation and the high stakes involved in the Israelites' spiritual journey. The passage challenges the reader to contemplate the depth of their faith and the steadfastness of their devotion, for it is only through enduring the Most High's judgment that the Israelites will be granted the opportunity to witness the fulfillment of the divine plan and the establishment of the promised eternal kingdom. Only judgment shall remain, truth shall stand, and faithfulness shall grow strong. Recompense shall follow, and the reward shall be manifested. Righteous deeds shall awake, and unrighteous deeds shall not sleep. This verse continues the angel's prophetic description of the impending divine judgment that will precede the Israelites' ultimate redemption. After revealing that compassion shall pass away and patience shall be withdrawn, verse 33, the text now declares, "But only judgment shall remain, truth shall stand, and faithfulness shall grow strong." This statement suggests a profound transformation in the spiritual and cosmic order, as the Almighty's compassion and mercy give way to a new era defined by strict judgment, unwavering truth, and the empowerment of faithfulness. For the chosen Israelites, this passage carries deep significance. The removal of compassion and patience implies that the Almighty will no longer overlook or tolerate the transgressions of His people. Instead, only judgment shall remain, a sobering reality that demands the Israelites' utmost spiritual vigilance and obedience. Yet, amidst this severe judgment, the text offers a glimmer of hope. Truth shall stand, and faithfulness shall grow strong, suggesting that the core principles and virtues upheld by the Almighty will be reinforced and empowered during this transformative period. The Israelites, who have weathered trials and tribulations while remaining faithful to the divine covenant, are now promised that their steadfast devotion will be rewarded, as faithfulness shall grow strong in the face of the Almighty's righteous judgment. This verse presents a stark contrast between the temporary withdrawal of divine compassion and the eternal, unshakable nature of the Almighty's truth and the faithfulness of His people. It challenges the Israelites to look beyond the immediate consequences of judgment and to embrace the spiritual transformation that will ultimately lead to the establishment of a new, divinely ordained reality. This verse provides further insight into the consequences that will arise from the divine judgment described in the previous verses. The text suggests that there will be a reckoning, where actions and deeds will be met with commensurate rewards or punishments. The just rewards for righteous living will be made clearly visible and realized, as the faithful and virtuous acts of the Israelites will be recognized and validated, as if rising from a dormant state. Conversely, the sinful and wicked actions of the unrighteous will no longer be overlooked or ignored, but will be exposed and accounted for. In the context of the chosen Israelites, this verse offers a profound promise and a stern warning. The Israelites who have remained faithful and righteous will be the recipients of the Almighty's rewards, as their virtuous deeds are manifested and awake to receive their due recognition. However, the passage also cautions that the unrighteous deeds of those who have strayed from the divine covenant will no longer be sleeping, implying that they will be fully brought to light and held accountable under the Almighty's judgment. This verse serves to reinforce the central theological framework that has been woven throughout the chapter, the idea that the trials and tribulations faced by the Israelites are not meaningless, but rather a necessary precursor to the ultimate reckoning and the establishment of a new, divinely ordained reality. By promising that righteous deeds will be manifested and unrighteous ones will be exposed, the passage challenges the Israelites to remain steadfast in their faith and obedience, knowing that their faithfulness will be rewarded and their transgressions will not go unnoticed. The pit of torment shall appear, and opposite it shall be the place of rest. And the furnace of hell shall be disclosed, and opposite it the paradise of delight. This verse continues the angel's vivid depiction of the consequences that will arise from the divine judgment. The text states, "Then the pit of torment shall appear, and opposite it shall be the place of rest. And the furnace of hell shall be disclosed, and opposite it the paradise of delight." This stark contrast paints a clear picture of the bifurcation of fates that will befall the unrighteous and the righteous respectively. The pit of torment and the furnace of hell represent the dire consequences that await those who have strayed from the divine covenant, while the place of rest and the paradise of delight signify the eternal rewards reserved for the faithful. This dramatic juxtaposition underscores the gravity of the situation and the high stakes involved in the Israelites' spiritual journey. Ezra's response to this revelation is thought-provoking, as he questions, "How then do we find that first Abraham prayed for the people of Sodom, and Moses for our fathers who sinned in the desert?" This query suggests a potential tension between the severity of the impending judgment, as described in the preceding verses, and the historical precedent of intercessory prayer, where figures like Abraham and Moses had entreated the Almighty on behalf of the unrighteous. Ezra's question invites the reader to contemplate the balance between the Almighty's justice and His capacity for mercy, even as the text presents a vivid depiction of the stark consequences that await those who have fallen short of the divine standards. This exchange challenges the reader to grapple with the complexities of divine judgment, righteousness, and the role of human agency in the unfolding of the Almighty's plan. Through this vivid imagery and Ezra's thought-provoking response, the passage continues to explore the profound theological implications of the impending judgment and the ultimate fate of the righteous and the unrighteous. Then the Most High will say to the nations that have been raised from the dead, "Look now, and understand whom you have denied, whom you have not served, whose commandments you have despised." This verse paints a dramatic scene of the divine reckoning, in which the Most High addresses the nations that have been raised from the dead. The Almighty calls upon these resurrected peoples to look now and understand whom you have denied, whom you have not served, whose commandments you have despised. This confrontation suggests a moment of profound spiritual awakening, where the unrighteous are forced to confront their rejection and dismissal of the Almighty and His statutes. The reference to the nations being raised from the dead evokes the earlier prophecy of the earth giving up those who are asleep in it, 732, hinting at a universal resurrection that will precede this divine judgment. The Almighty's direct address to these formerly dead nations underscores the gravity of the situation, as the unrighteous are now compelled to face the consequences of their spiritual transgressions. The text also draws a parallel to historical figures like Joshua, who had interceded on behalf of the Israelites during moments of sin and disobedience. This allusion suggests that the current judgment may be viewed in the context of a larger, ongoing spiritual narrative, where the Almighty's mercy and justice have been consistently manifested throughout the ages. Through this vivid scene, the passage continues to emphasize the high stakes involved in the Israelites' spiritual journey, as they are challenged to remain steadfast in their faith and obedience, knowing that the Almighty will ultimately hold the unrighteous accountable for their rejection of the divine covenant. The text invites the reader to contemplate the gravity of this impending judgment and the importance of aligning oneself with the Almighty's commandments, lest they risk being numbered among the condemned. Look on this side and on that. Here are delight and rest, and there are fire and torments. Thus he will speak to them on the day of judgment. The passage continues to depict the harrowing scene of divine judgment, with the Most High drawing a stark contrast for the resurrected nations. The text states, "Look on this side and on that. Here are delight and rest, and there are fire and torments." This vivid imagery presents a clear bifurcation of fates. On one hand, there is delight and rest, while on the other, there is fire and torments. The Almighty confronts the unrighteous, forcing them to bear witness to the consequences of their actions as they are juxtaposed against the rewards bestowed upon the faithful. The passage specifies that this pronouncement will be delivered on the day of judgment, underscoring the gravity and finality of this moment. The text then draws parallels to historical figures like Samuel, David, and Solomon, who had interceded on behalf of the Israelites during times of sin and divine judgment. These allusions suggest that the current reckoning is part of a broader spiritual narrative, where the Almighty's justice and mercy have been consistently manifested throughout the ages. The following verse further describes the unique nature of this day of judgment, stating that it will be a time that has no sun or moon or stars. This striking detail implies a suspension of the natural order, hinting at the profoundly transformative and even cosmic implications of the impending judgment. The passage also makes reference to Elijah, the prophet who had called down divine intervention, both in the form of rain and in the resurrection of the dead. These biblical echoes serve to underscore the magnitude and the transcendent power of the events that are about to unfold. Through this vivid depiction, the text continues to challenge the reader to contemplate the gravity of the divine judgment, while also offering glimpses of the Almighty's capacity for both righteous wrath and miraculous deliverance. The passages invite the reader to situate the present circumstances within the broader framework of the Israelites' spiritual history, as they grapple with the high stakes and profound implications of the impending reckoning. It will last as though for a week of years. This is my judgment and its prescribed order, and to you alone I have shown these. The angel continues to reveal crucial details about the impending divine judgment and the transition to the new, eternal age. Regarding the duration of these events, the text states that it will last for about a week of years. This suggests a finite, yet significant period of time in which the judgment and the subsequent transformation will take place. The passage then clearly delineates the pivotal significance of this moment, declaring that the day of judgment will be the end of this age and the beginning of the immortal age to come. This statement underscores the profound nature of the judgment, as it marks the culmination of the present world and the ushering in of a new, eternal realm. The use of the phrase immortal age to come conveys a sense of the transcendent, everlasting nature of the reality that will emerge from this transformative event. The text then emphasizes that this transition will be marked by the passing away of corruption, suggesting that the taint of sin, moral decay, and the limitations of the earthly realm will be purged, paving the way for the establishment of the new, incorruptible age. This detail serves to heighten the sense of anticipation and the profound implications of the impending judgment, as the reader is challenged to contemplate the sweeping changes that will accompany the dawn of the immortal age to come. Through this concentrated passage, the text continues to underscore the gravity and the high stakes involved in the Israelites' spiritual journey. The clear delineation between the present age and the immortal age to come invites the reader to consider the magnitude of the transformation that is about to unfold, as the Almighty's judgment brings an end to the current world order and ushers in a new, divinely ordained reality. This verse further elaborates on the profound changes that will accompany the transition from the present age to the immortal age to come that was described in the previous verse. The text states, "Sinful indulgence has come to an end, unbelief has been cut off, and righteousness has increased, and truth has appeared." This powerful declaration suggests a complete transformation of the spiritual and moral landscape. The passage indicates that the corrosive influences of sinful indulgence and unbelief will be eradicated, signifying the purging of the corrupting forces that had previously held sway. In their place, the text promises that righteousness has increased and truth has appeared, hinting at the establishment of a new, divinely ordained order where virtue and divine revelation will flourish. The contrasting imagery of the vices being cut off and come to an end, juxtaposed with the flourishing of righteousness and truth, underscores the profound transformation that is about to take place. This verse suggests that the judgment will not merely be a reckoning, but a pivotal moment of spiritual renewal and the ushering in of a new reality, where the corrosive elements of the past will be swept away to make room for the triumph of the Almighty's righteous principles. By emphasizing these dramatic changes, the text continues to challenge the reader to contemplate the magnitude of the events that are to come. The passage invites the Israelites to look beyond the immediate trials and tribulations and to anticipate the profound, divinely ordained restoration that will emerge from the crucible of judgment. This verse serves to reinforce the central theological framework of the chapter, highlighting the necessity of enduring the present in order to attain the eternal rewards and blessings of the immortal age to come. In this verse, Ezra responds to the angel's profound revelations with a declaration of blessing and affirmation. He states, This pronouncement reflects Ezra's unwavering understanding that the path to divine favor and eternal rewards lies in the steadfast obedience and devotion to the Almighty's commandments. Ezra's emphasis on those who are alive and keep thy commandments suggests a recognition that true spiritual life and blessing are contingent upon a living, active faith, one that manifests in the faithful observance of God's statutes. This stands in stark contrast to the fate of those who have fallen away from the divine covenant, as hinted at in the angel's previous warnings. Ezra then concludes with a decisive statement. Therefore, no one will then be able to have mercy on him who has been condemned in the judgment, or to harm him who is victorious. This assertion reflects an implicit acknowledgement of the dire consequences that await the unrighteous, as well as the absolute security and protection afforded to those who have emerged victorious through their faithful perseverance. The underlying message conveyed in Ezra's words is one of hope and encouragement for the chosen Israelites. By affirming the blessedness of the faithful and the irrevocable nature of the divine judgment, he offers a steadfast assurance that those who have remained obedient to the Almighty will be the recipients of his eternal favor and deliverance, regardless of the trials and tribulations they may have faced in the present world. This verse serves to reinforce the central theological framework that has been woven throughout the chapter, underscoring the necessity of unwavering faith and obedience as the path to ultimate redemption and the attainment of the promised divine blessings. In this verse, Ezra poses a poignant question to the angel, asking about those for whom he had prayed. The implication is that In this verse, Ezra poses a poignant question to the angel, asking about those for whom he had prayed. The implication is that Ezra had sought divine intervention and redemption for a particular group or individuals. However, the angel's response highlights the universal nature of human sinfulness, challenging Ezra's specific intercession. The angel counters by asking, "For who among the living is there that has not sinned? Or who among men that has not transgressed thy covenant?" This rhetorical question serves to underscore the inherent propensity of humanity towards sin and the breaking of the divine covenant. The angel suggests that Ezra's plea on behalf of a select few is problematic, as all people, without exception, have fallen short of the Almighty's righteous standards. Ezra's response to this revelation is equally profound and despairing. He states, "This is my first and last word, that it would have been better if the earth had not produced Adam, or else, when it had produced him, had restrained him from sinning." This lament reflects a deep disillusionment with the human condition, as Ezra contemplates the dire consequences of Adam's transgression and the subsequent spread of sin throughout the human race. The implication is that the very existence of God's creation, with its innate tendency towards sin and the violation of God's covenant, is a source of sorrow and regret. Ezra's words suggest a longing for an alternate reality in which the fall of Adam had never occurred, or in which humanity had been prevented from succumbing to the temptation of sin. This exchange highlights the gravity of the spiritual condition facing both Ezra and the chosen Israelites, as they grapple with the universal reach of human sinfulness and the seemingly insurmountable challenge of attaining redemption in the face of such a profound spiritual malady. "And now I see that the world to come will bring delight to few, but torments to many." In this verse, the angel offers a poignant and unsettling observation about the state of the world and the fate of humanity. He declares, "And now I see that the world to come will bring delight to few, but torments to many." This stark proclamation suggests a profound imbalance between those who will receive the divine rewards of the world to come and the multitudes who will face torments in the afterlife. The angel's use of the word few to describe the recipients of delight conveys a sense of exclusivity, implying that only a select group will attain the blessings of the eternal realm, while the majority will be consigned to suffering. The angel then poses a poignant question. "For what good is it to all that they live in sorrow now and expect punishment after death?" This rhetorical query underscores the futility and injustice of a life spent in sorrow, only to be met with punishment in the world to come. The implication is that the current state of human existence, marked by tribulation and hardship, offers little solace or promise of redemption for the majority, who will ultimately face divine retribution rather than the anticipated rewards. This verse presents a sobering and challenging perspective, one that disrupts the reader's expectations and demands a profound re-examination of the nature of the divine plan and the relationship between earthly suffering and eternal rewards. The angel's words serve to underscore the gravity of the situation, inviting the Israelites to consider the high stakes involved in their spiritual journey and the need for unwavering devotion to the Almighty, lest they risk being among the multitudes consigned to eternal torments. "For an evil heart has grown up in us, which has alienated us from God, and has brought us into corruption and the ways of death, and has shown us the paths of perdition, and removed us far from life, and that not merely for a few, but for almost all who have been created." This verse offers a sobering and introspective assessment of the human condition, as the angel laments the corrupting influence that has taken root within the hearts of God's chosen people. He declares, "For an evil heart has grown up in us, which has alienated us from God, and has brought us into corruption and the ways of death, and has shown us the paths of perdition, and removed us far from life." The implication is that the Israelites, and indeed humanity as a whole, have fallen victim to a spiritual malady, an evil heart that has severed their connection to the Almighty and led them down a perilous path of moral and spiritual decay. This evil heart has not only alienated the people from God, but has also ushered them into a state of corruption and death, guiding them towards the paths of perdition and distancing them from the source of true life. The angel's use of the first-person plural, "in us," suggests a shared culpability, implying that this spiritual ailment afflicts not merely a few, but almost all who have been created. This sobering assessment challenges the Israelites to grapple with their own complicity in the spiritual deterioration that has befallen them. even as they anticipate the divine judgment and the promised restoration that will ultimately redeem the faithful remnant.